Okay, so hey guys, we're finally back at it with the lives again. So I'm very excited. I'm also very excited today because I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different. Instead of like having multiple guests today, I'm gonna focus on one, an author of a novel. He's actually on the live right now, so we can go ahead and add him.
Hey,
Hi,
hey.
how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so
Just
I just yeah.
totally forgot to put the book beside me.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so before we do start, like asking questions about the book, I do want you to like introduce yourself,
Mhm.
and basically say like what your book is about, like anything that you feel like is important for everybody to know
Mhm.
about you.
Okay. So my name is Biodun Abudu. This is my recent, my actually. This particular discusses about fantasies, positions, and then celebrating body parts. It creatively uses different words in a poetry form to celebrate what I mentioned, which is positions, fantasies, things um, this is a book I wrote in hopes that people will feel motivated, inspired to spice up their relationships because
Right.
boring and regular relationship, you want to come home and see your partner waiting for you, candles are lit, they're wearing something sexy with the whip, with the cuff, something.
Right.
Even while you're on vacation, you need to spice things up.
Right. No, I definitely agree. I definitely feel like that is a very important part of a relationship, especially like, when you do hear like older couples and stuff, like they always say like, "Oh, I feel like the romance or like the fun died down a little bit." So I do feel like that was a great introduction. I feel like that's a great idea for a book just in general.
Mhm.
I've never came across something like that, so I definitely, like I think that's an amazing thought to progress in your mind before you actually started in writing it. So, with that being said, like why do you write like in general? Like, was it like a hobby that you first created like at being younger, or as you grew older, you were like, hey, like this is something I want to take on? Because I write myself a little bit but I do it because I went to college for English for 4 years. So, like it was always like forced upon me a little bit, but I did find that it was a great way to like write your thoughts, vent to yourself, a good way to like meditate. So why do you feel like you write?
So for me, actually, it started with diaries. When you
Okay.
have a crush, something happened to you, you're noting everything down in a diary. So literally, that's how it started for me.
Hmm.
It was a diary that I never wanted someone else to see. So I'm literally carrying that thing everywhere with me in school.
Yeah, because my mom, she would look through my diary, so I stopped writing in it.
So it was where all my secrets were,
Right.
literally. So that's where it started. And then eventually when I started to, because my background is from Nigeria.
Hmm.
So I wasn't too familiar with the computer, even though we did have computer classes, but I never paid attention. So I always just hand wrote everything. So eventually, when I started to use computers, I started to type it. And I won't lie, I started to write these poems since I was like 13, 14,
Oh, okay. So it was like a hobby since you were younger.
younger.
Right.
But gosh, it's too sexual. I don't think it's the right age and time to release it. So I know I'll use it in the future. I just don't know when.
Oh, okay.
Everything in my email. And this just was the year that I was like, okay, I'm ready to put it out there.
Wow. That's really insane. So you've actually been like creating this for years and
Mhm.
years, and you were just like, you know what? I think now's the time to just release it. And wow, that's
Because back home, Nigeria, it could be a little bit judgmental, these kind of topics.
right.
So,
Which I mean, in a lot of other countries it is, because they aren't as, as, I don't want to say, it's very strict in other countries when it comes to sexual things, especially with women, like anything.
Yes.
So I definitely could imagine how that would have been like over there, even now, because yeah, like we are in an age where talking about your sex life and talking about these matters is a little bit more accepted, but
Mm-hmm.
not all the way.
Not all the way. And that's
Right.
what women, because back home we have a lot of Nigerian artists, and my friend also is an artist. Hopefully she logs in to see this too. Um, a lot of them would like dress very sexy, and their videos wouldn't be played back home. They would not play it, but they would play the artists from here, the popular artists from here. That's what they're
Right.
at. And I'm like, it's the same thing. So
Right. Like, what is what's the difference?
then they're so quick to judge women based on how they dress. Oh, she's a whore, she's a prostitute, she's probably too.
Right.
Those kind of things come into play, but it's like, no, it's art. Everything is art. The way they dress, what they say, through the music. She may talk about sexual parts or positions. Doesn't mean she's easy. It's just
Yeah,
art.
that's just right. It's a form of art. Even like I have a Twitter, and like on Twitter they have a lot of like, there are sometimes where girls do post like, I don't want to say like nude photos, but
Mhm.
they say like you can tell that some of it is like a form of art. You see like their body shapes, like it's not just like, oh, this is my boobs and titties. It's more like, this is my body, this is what is me, and this is how I like to express myself. So I
Mhm.
definitely agree with that.
Yes.
Um, so I know that you did send me a little bit of your novel piece, when I
Hmm.
did ask you a couple of weeks ago. But
Hmm.
I just wanted to know, what is your favorite part of the novel? Like, like, is there a section or like a chapter that you feel like is like, yeah, like this is the one. Like, people gonna read this and
You know, and I'm gonna read one too. So I have one that I wrote, and I was very hesitant to release it, but for some reason, people really love it. And the reason why I was hesitant, because I use biblical words to write it, so it's kind
Oh,
of,
okay.
so hopefully nobody
It's
gets
it's like it's like contradictory, but like,
yeah, offended. But I'm gonna read a little bit.
Okay, okay.
So it's called Holy Foreplay. So it goes: knock on my door like a Jehovah Witness, flip open my biblical scriptures, part my thighs apart like the Red Sea, lick my soft and sacred private chapters. Put your fingers in between my verses. Pull out your rod and staff so my heavens can open up. Put me on your altar and worship my body. Find redemption in my house of salvation. Go deep into my temple so my river now can flow endlessly down my thighs. Continue to build my Tower of Babel so I can speak in different languages. Let there be complete satisfaction at the midnight hour. Perform a miracle so I can be converted into a saved soul. Then let me baptize myself in your creamy nutrients so I could be anew.
Okay. I don't want to, sorry. I know I paused. I don't want to clap because, that's poetry supposed to snap, but I got people here with me. They snapping too. No, I honestly, I think that, like, I love how you just, like, put those two topics, which are very, like, I don't want to say against each other, because, like, I'm not very religious, but I do know, like, in some religions, like,
Mhm.
um, even having sex before marriage is like a sin to them. But I love how you combine those two, and you were able to make it such a beautiful piece. Like, I love it. Like,
Thank
kudos to you.
It's very fearless.
Yes, it's very fearless. It's very like, you're kind of thinking in your head like, oh, like, what are they gonna say next? Like, what are they gonna
you.
compare this to next? Okay,
But like
yeah.
this one is like a Bible one, and then I have
Uh-huh.
one that talks like a drive-through. There's one that I use a business setting, like transactions, like percentages, those kind of words, like investments. So I'm talking about
Mhm.
investing people's body, like you're hitting it all the time, but what eventually what you want to do with it, you put in a ring, like those kind of things I'm using in my poems.
Right. No, yeah, I definitely think that's like an amazing incorporation of all those topics, because those are things that, like, you know, people go through every day and they don't think of it in a sexual being way.
Hmm.
So I feel like that was amazing. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, so um do you have like a certain goal for, like, when you released your piece? I know you said you were writing it for years. Was there a specific goal that you had when releasing the book?
So, when I wrote it, I definitely wanted to, as I talked to different people and find myself in different places, I wanted it to eventually get to a point where, because sometimes you don't want to necessarily come out and just talk straight sex. You want to use art, and whether it's images, whether it's poetry, whether it's a book, you want to bring that topic to the forefront so people can
Right.
get comfortable.
Right.
Um, because so using that art is like the fence you're leaning on to talk about sex, which people shy
Hmm.
from or they feel judged. So I knew that when I wrote this, I wanted to like have it be discussed, and eventually when people read this, hopefully they can be like, oh, I read this in this book, I want to try this today, and
Right.
difference with my relationship or with the bedroom, because no shade to anyone, I just don't imagine anyone just wants to lay down and that's it, and you know
No, yeah. I mean, no, I definitely agree. I was watching this show one time. It was a Netflix show. It was called Unorthodox.
mm,
So I don't know if,
yes,
yes, so I don't know if you know, but for the people that don't know about it, that are watching, in unorthodox, and is it unorthodox or orthodox Jews?
uh,
Orthodox Jews. Orthodox Jews, they have sex, but they do not do it for pleasure. They do it to
Produce
create, right,
offspring.
to
yes.
create children. So I was like just watching it, and I'm just like, I cannot believe
And
that
she
this
literally
happened.
lived there. It was hurting her. She wasn't enjoying herself, and they were practically clothed. Like,
Right. Like she's just and it was crazy to me because when I heard about that, like previously I've heard like rumors about it, but you know, I never really looked into it. But
mhm,
watching the show, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is how it happens. And in the show, she's so young. So it's
mhm,
like, you know, like you could tell she wasn't even comfortable with herself because I think at one part the lady was like, oh yeah, like you have two holes. And she's like,
yeah. Oh,
two holes. And I was just like, for
and
you
that,
not to even
like she wasn't right.
right, like you're not, I feel like if you're not comfortable with yourself, there's no way that you can be comfortable with somebody else. So
Mhm.
that was just crazy that you know, you said that like nobody just wants to lay there. Like she sure didn't. She was not having fun.
She really wasn't, and she was hurting too. So it was like,
Okay, so on to the next question. Well, this is
mhm.
actually the last question I have, but of course we can continue the conversation anytime. I said, what's some advice that you would give to young writers? I know you said that you started young,
Mhm.
who are struggling to find a voice or struggling to write on a topic that they feel is very controversial.
So, ooh. So, for example, like apart from this, my first book spoke about gay characters from Nigeria, which is taboo over there.
Uh-huh.
I think the first step is coming to a conclusion that I'm ready to release this work and I'm standing behind the work.
Right.
Because you have to be able to say, I'm ready. Someone else can't say they're ready for you. They can defend you, but at the end of the day, it's your work.
It's right. It's what you put out. It's what you put into it.
Yeah, so it's like, first of all, they have to be able to like come to that conclusion where they're like, I'm ready. If they want to research and see how other people have handled their interviews, the backlash, that's okay. But they have to be able to say, I'm ready to put this out there. And even when they put it out there, you're definitely going to get both the negative and the positive. So you,
Right. Of it, because there's gonna be people that love what you put out and love the content that's being put out, and there's people that are not gonna love it or judge what you're putting out because
put in,
they just don't see those type of views, which
yes.
is makes sense honestly in every category that you do, because even on this podcast alone, when I first put
Mhm,
it out, it's called Sex Exchange Podcast. Everybody thought that the topics were going to be straight about sex. And I told them,
mhm,
I'm like, you know, that's not what the name was primarily about. The name was called Sex Exchange because I'm having two different sexes exchange opinions on things. And,
mhm,
you know, like once I explained, everybody's like, oh, like that sounds so good. But
mhm,
at first, like there was people that were like, oh, like her podcast, like when I would ask them like, hey, do you want to be on it? Like they would just be like, oh, like what are you gonna ask? Like, you
Yeah.
know, like they weren't comfortable with it. And then when I, you know, explained to them, some of them were like, oh, hey, like that's so cool. Like that sounds like such a great idea for you to like bring that into perspective. And then others were just like, I don't know, like I don't think that
Yeah,
that's something I'm interested in.
because there's some people that just still not comfortable, and that's fine. But if you're gonna be creating like a podcast or a book, you have
You have to be open, right? You have to be raw and open, and that's definitely what I've learned. Like
yeah.
I try. I mean, within the podcast, I want to say that I do incorporate a little bit of both. I just incorporate a lot of real life situations that have happened to myself, and then I try to incorporate situations that didn't happen, but you know, maybe somebody else experienced it, or maybe somebody else went through it.
Hmm.
And I just feel like as a creator, as a content person, as a writer, whatever you choose to be, you have to be like that. You have to be open minded about everything that you put out or take in. So I
And
definitely agree.
and strength is not built in one day. Like you eventually, like when you watch other people and see how they handle things, it helps you. You're gonna fit in like there
Oh,
were
sorry. I know I paused. Sorry.
yeah, so like I wrote the book and I was super confident immediately. Like it grew gradually. So I might like the negative. You choose whether you want to respond or not. When you're responding, you're educated. Yeah.
No,
So
I'm
like
sorry.
yeah, some negative comments. You're
Uh huh.
educating them on what they don't know about. Because sometimes people just don't know, and they feel like because of social media, they can just come there and just say whatever they.
Right. And it's like that's not the case. Like, and I've noticed that like even throughout the years of just like not even just this, but just being on social media regularly, people believe that it's kind of just like, oh, I'm on social media, I'm behind the screen, so
Mm,
I'm gonna say things that I wouldn't say in person, and it's
mm,
just like, bro.
poor guy.
No, yeah, literally. So I do think that you know your book is an amazing content put out. I do want to say that, like, just I read the original script that you wrote me, and I did read the obviously I just heard the script that you put out, and I think that they're amazing.
Mhm.
You know, like I want you to tell everybody like where they can purchase this book, and you know where we're able to buy it because honestly, I read. I don't want to say I don't read. I read,
Mhm.
but there's very few books that catch my interest in order to read. So I
Mhm.
feel like that would be something I'm very interested in, and I know other people would be too,
Mhm.
especially even after watching this, because you know I keep these up. So even if there's like 2, 3 viewers now, the people that watch it after, they're
Mhm.
able to see where they can purchase it. So if you want, I can tag your page if that's the primary place where you can get it, or if there's like a certain link that you want me to put up.
My page, but on my page, I have on link, so it's available on Amazon.com. Also available on Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
Nobles is taking a little while. I guess the book is too sexual for them, but
It's okay. You know, that's how we love it. It's fine.
Amazon has it. So they can definitely purchase it from Amazon for Kindle and paperback version as well.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is for everybody that's watching, I'm actually gonna take the link of
Mhm.
the Amazon book and I'm gonna put it in my bio. So if you guys would like to purchase it, you can purchase it through there. When writing the description for this, I'll tag your at and they can purchase it from there if they'd like from you said I believe Barnes and Nobles too, right? Correct?
Well, my
Was it
other
Barnes and
two
Nobles?
Barnes and Nobles, but the third one is not.
Okay, okay. So
It,
so the other ones you can check those out. I wanna say thank you so much for coming on this live with me. I
thank you.
think it was an amazing talk. You know, like I learned so much about the book itself, and you know, even about you that I didn't know before. So it's always a pleasure to meet new people and you know network and get to know people's stories and stuff behind. We can definitely do this again about
Yeah,
your if you
yeah,
create another book or just want to come on the live itself. Feel
yes,
free to.
yeah.
And yeah, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
So much for having me and giving me the opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll keep in contact with you.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So, I just want to say again, thank you for coming on the live again. I really appreciate it. I think that it was a great conversation. If you guys, if you guys didn't check out his books or his page, go check it out, definitely. um yeah, I mean, this was a little bit different from what I usually do. Like I said, I just had one person come on and we spoke about a particular topic, but I do think that it was a great conversation. Again, I will have the link to his book in my bio so you guys are able to purchase, and I will definitely write his in the description so you guys can check out his other published pieces and stuff. Okay. All right, bye guys, thank you for tuning in.